are like the same group of guys that are like, players are paid too much.
Yeah.
He's playing baseball, football. I'm like, well, where do you want the money to go?
Yeah.
You want the owner to have all the money?
Yeah. Obviously, the owners.
The same group of guys that are just, it's like, the group of guys that are just like quick to judge the athletes are the guys that are just kind of jealous of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so.
And I think here in Kansas City, we're a little more sensitive about rushing to judgment on a guy because of, the Tyreek Hill situation. And I feel like that's been beat to death. We don't need to go back through that. But I don't want to, come on here and say that Richard Sherman did all this and did that, because I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm basing this on what Adam Schefter has reported. Typically, he's pretty spot on with his details, and so that's kind of where I based. What we talked about on was Adam Schefter and what he's put out. And until I see more, I'm not gonna necessarily just say any judgment about Richard Sherman.
Yeah, I agree, dude.
Now, again, if he did threaten his wife or beat his wife or put his hands on his wife or kids, then he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But that's an if. I don't know that.
I'm with you. I do agree. I agree on that. If they find evidence to that, I'm like, I'm not a fan, obviously.
Yeah.
That stuff. Let's get all the details and stuff first before we rush to judgment. Now, there's a difference too. If you have an opinion, like you're like, man, I kind of saw this. I think he did this. That's my opinion. I don't know for sure. Don't be like, 100% know for sure that he did it. You're like, no, you don't. See?
Yeah, because nobody really knows except for him and his wife.
My opinion is this scenario that we described, that you described really well earlier. He probably had a lot of stock in himself as a football player. He's hitting the point where no one's picked him up. He's depressed about it, which just sucks and it's sad. I hope he gets help. That's it. That's it on that. So,
all right.
What's a positive story, man?
Hey, yeah. So positive story. Let's talk about. We've talked a lot about the Super Bowl hangover from the losing team, right? Not making the playoffs.
Yes.
So I have the data in front of me going back 10 years, the last 10 Super Bowls. So let's go through them, and let's start with the Super Bowl that was in 2012. It was the New York Giants versus the New England Patriots. The Giants won that Super Bowl. Did New England make the playoffs the following year?
Yes.
Yes, you are correct. Okay. Baltimore versus San Francisco in the Harbaugh Bowl. Okay, that was in 2013. San Francisco lost. Did they make the playoffs the following year?
No.
Actually, they did. So they are one of the teams that broke the curse there. Seattle versus Denver in 2014. Denver lost that Super Bowl to Seattle.
Yeah.
Did they make the playoffs the following year?
Yes.
Yes, they did. You're correct. Next Super Bowl was New England versus Seattle. Okay, Seattle lost that one. That's the game where they threw it on the one.
Yeah.
Did Seattle make the playoffs the next year?
Yes.
You are correct. So that's 4 in a row, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay? 4 teams in a row that made the playoffs the following year after losing the Super Bowl. Okay? The next one is Denver versus Carolina. Okay? Denver won that one. That was Peyton Manning against Cam Newton. Did Carolina make the playoffs the following year?
That is a no. Cam Newton regresses highly after this game.
Absolutely. Correct. The next one, famous game, New England versus Atlanta.
Okay, no.
Yeah, no. Atlanta has not been the same since they were up 28-3. Philly versus New England. This was Philadelphia's lone championship in the NFL. lone Super Bowl. Did New England make the playoffs of next year?
Yes.
Yes, they won the Super Bowl the following year.
Yeah, I say that was a comeback.
Yeah, and they played the Rams in the Super Bowl that following year. The Rams lost. Did the Rams make the playoffs the next year?
On a site? No.
No. Okay. Then you had Kansas City versus San Francisco. Okay. Obviously, we know Kansas City won the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes. San Francisco, did they make the playoffs the following year?
No.
No. Okay. And then, obviously, the latest Super Bowl, Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. Why I've brought this up, okay, Tampa Bay won. Tom Brady, the GOAT. Will Kansas City Chiefs make the playoffs this year?
Yes.
See, I say no. I say they're going to be a victim of the Super Bowl hangover.
Now, wait. So hold on. The last 10 years, what's the trend?
Okay, so the last 10 years, okay, five times the loser of the Super Bowl has made the playoffs. 5 times they haven't. Now, 2 of those 5, it's half. Okay, 2 of those 5 are New England. Okay, with Belichick and Brady.
Yeah.
The other 3 are Seattle, Denver, and San Francisco. Which that was San Francisco under Harbaugh.
Okay. I'd like to point out a couple of things.
Okay.
This is why I like the Chiefs. I mean, besides obvious, I'm a homer. Besides that, I am a homer, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's get that out of the way. I think this on the teams that made the playoffs next year, always MVP type quarterback, right? Brady, Peyton Manning. Whatever. Peyton, Brady. The only who else did it?
So San Francisco, would that have been Kaepernick or would that have been Alex Smith?
That's Cap.
I think it was Alex Smith.
No, Kaepernick lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so then I think Alex Smith, didn't he start that next year or no? Or was that when he came to Kansas City?
That's yeah, they trade him to us.
Okay.
And they roll Kaepernick. So here's my argument. My argument, I think, is you can break that curse if you have an MVP style quarterback. The outlier is probably Matt Ryan, who actually still plays really well, and they just have these weird collapses that are like his numbers are solid. You just go, what the heck? It's like total mismanagement. So besides the Matt Ryan, because he is an MVP, won an MVP, but I think the company that Mahomes finds himself in, I don't think it's crazy to say Mahomes is there. I don't think he's GOAT, but like talent-wise, I think he's there with Brady, Manning, and then especially like a Russell Wilson. So I would say he belongs in that group, whereas the teams that miss the playoffs the next year would be like a Cam Newton, a Colin Kaepernick. Who else missed? Who else were the ones that missed, dude?
Carolina, so Cam Newton. And we've talked, Jared Goff, Jimmy G, which Jimmy G was hurt the following year. So
actually, you know what? And I don't think Jimmy G is an elite quarterback, but I think if San Francisco stays healthy, I think they do make the playoffs because they beat some guys this year with no one on their team.
Yeah,
because I think Shanahan's is a heck of a coach, dude.
Yes.
So, anyways. Well, I think that if you're going to look at the stats like that, I mean, I would say if I dig a little deeper for me personally, I would say, hey, and Mahomes is an MVP, guy. So I'll take them to make the playoffs.
Yes. So obviously, there are other factors. I think you got to dig a little deeper too. Like, what were these divisions like at the time? Obviously, during New England's run, of how many ever AFC East championships. I mean, Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets were all terrible, right? I mean, none of those were good teams. Now,
yeah, and every once in a while, like one of them would be decent.
Yeah, but none of them were really ready to dethrone what New England had going on, right? I mean, New England has played in 5 of the last 10 Super Bowls. New England was in 5 of the last 10, so that means Brady's in 6 of the last 10. So, I mean, that speaks to that division. Now, obviously, you know, the NFC West is kind of the opposite of that. With Seattle and San Francisco being in, you know, several of those Super Bowls too, even though, you know, they lost to them. Seattle won one of the last 10, but they've been in 2 more. You know, San Francisco's lost 2 in the last 10 years. I mean, so you look at these teams like that's a tough division. So you can see why the division winner doesn't make the playoffs the following year, because it's a tough division. Now, about my Chiefs prediction, the fact that their division is so weak, that's what scares me about it. Because who's really ready to unseat them in the AFC West? And I don't know right now. I'm just, you know, I'm trying to say that I think they don't make the playoffs. So we'll just have to wait and see who I pick to win this division, because that means obviously I ain't picking the Chiefs.
The thing is, if you're okay, so this is this more of an opinion thing?
Yes.
Or are you coming up with a reason to bet the really good odds that they don't make the playoffs? Because I'm sure the odds are fantastic.
Yeah. No, this is my opinion right now. I just think the Super Bowl hangover is real, and I think it could affect the Chiefs next year.
All right.
So
I was just saying, if you want to bet on that, I know those odds are got to be insanely, like in your favor.
I'll have to look that up. But anyway, so that was something kind of fun to end the show on. You know, just kind of discuss these past 10 Super Bowls, and you know who won, who lost, and if they made the playoffs next year.
I like it. No, I like that. It's fun deep diving into like some stats stuff, trying to figure out like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Another thing is too. I mean, you can see that happen with you know, if somebody gets hurt, you know, it can go that way too. So, so it's like so yeah, betting on it is not the. I will not bet on that. Betting on that, like a little sprinkle, if you think it's going to happen, a couple bucks, I think that's not a bad bet.
Yeah. I do want to, as we're wrapping up here, I want to give a quick shout out to one of my players at Shawnee Mission East who followed us on Spotify this week. He overheard me talking to one of the coaches about the podcast, and he's like, "Hey man, you have a podcast?" I was like, "Yeah." So he followed us. Charlie, I'll give a shout out to Charlie. Followed us on Spotify this week.
We got Charlie out there. Well, hopefully, you know, if we ever have him on the show like we did some of the other guys, hopefully, you know, he could talk a little.
Yeah.
The other guys got a little. I remember the other guys got a little shy.
Yeah, they did. But anyway, you got anything else for this week?
Yeah, a couple things. Looks like. So we had a bet yesterday for our quick bet show. We had 2 bets actually, but Boston, New York got postponed. The other one was a bet on the men's soccer to go -1 in the first half. We hit that bet pretty easy. Men's soccer, basically where men's U.S. soccer is right now is they are an okay team. They haven't played anybody great, so we don't know exactly where they're at, but they should be in the finals for the Gold Cup. I think they will. I don't know who they'll play against. I would guess Mexico. It all depends on how the group standings kind of fall. So it's kind of cool. I mean, I want them to be good. I wish they were. You know, I want them to be really good. And they basically smash terrible teams, and then they get smashed by good teams. So, and then another second thing I would say, and I'll ask a question to you. Men's USA basketball, are we in trouble?
I don't think so. I think that they'll be fine once we get to competition. Now, I think that the competition level has been raised across the world. You know, teams are better. But I